Hello, good afternoon again. Goodness gracious, where does the time go? Up to lots and lots, trying to get ready for the shows a week on Sunday. Sounds a long way off, but it will be here as well, as quick as a wink. Oh, see. And it looks as though we were frozen straight away. Can't see anybody watching as yet, but we'll see. Oh yes, I can see one person watching. So if you could, just make a little comment. Oh, hello Sue. Wonder what Norfolk's like today. Doesn't tell me anybody's watching, and now you're commenting, so never mind. I'm sure there's more of you out there than just you, Sue. Hopefully. Otherwise we will, yes, so there's a few more now. Actually, no, it might be quite chilly. It's been coolish here. Hello, Lindsay. Oh, I can see you now. Tells me nobody's watching, but I think there probably are. So, yes, nothing much happened. Very, very mild. In the garden in a t-shirt. I've got a woolly jumper on today. Hello, Jackie. Jackie hopes everyone is doing okay. Yes, as far as I know. Let's take that silly little thing off. I don't want that. Hello, Angie. Lovely to see you. Hope you're doing well. And I can see Nick. Oh, it's telling me people are watching now. Jolly good. Jolly good. Oh, yes, I can see now, Lindsay. Lovely. So on the So Totally Trisha page, there will be a little rerun of a video. Can't remember which one now. Hello, Jane. Oh, it's sunny. Here in sunny, not nice. Oh, it's well, it's dark here. Before 4:30, it is dark, and I don't like it. It's where has the summer gone, or what summer did we have? Hello, Nicola. Nicola saying hi to everyone. So yes, today has been a child-free day. Hello, Jan, and hello everyone. She says, "Oh, it's a Christmas table runner." That's right. Did have a quick peek. I just looked at the length of my hair, very short. Whereas now I've got more than I can do with it. Needs another trim. I want something different, really, but I daren't go cerise pink, although I would love to, or rainbow. Rainbow colour would be lovely. Oh, hello, Chris. Oh, lovely. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Lindsay's doing a sterling job making sure everybody has the names to get them out to and telling you when they should be in by, etc. I mean, there's so much to do, and bless her, she does it all for us. So it's absolutely wonderful. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm sure lots of people are. And it's running, as far as I'm aware, quite smoothly. Had a few hiccups the end of last month, but we sorted it all. Yes, I've got a shock when I look in the early. I know. And some of them, but when I go look through videos of any sorts, that freeze frame, it's not just me that has a funny face. There's some quite scary ones, aren't there? But hey ho, it's me. As soon as you move, it's a little bit better. Can't get much better, but it's better than the freeze frame. But there we go. So yes, I've been thinking about what am I going to do, and I've gone through the last few days going to bed thinking, what am I going to do for the next shows, and waking up in the morning thinking, did I think of anything that I was going to do? No. Oh, hello, Leslie. Lovely to see you too. Yes, so I've got a few things up my sleeve. What I try to do is not too much cutting for me. However, when I think, oh, I know what I could do. I could do this, I could do that. There's always cutting involved. So, yes, I think, but this time as well, fortunately, Tracy is going to give me a hand. I haven't told her how much yet, if she's watching. But I've got about 14 samples to make. Hello, Heather. And every mug rug swapper, she says. Yes, that's what you all are. So, yeah, there's some new things, and there's some revamped things as well, but they're all new fabrics. And actually this morning I got, oh, afternoon Ellen, you might have to leave. Oh, never mind. Happy birthday, Isaac. Yes, this morning I got all the rest of the orders. I got some out yesterday, as in website orders, and then there was 2 or 3 left over, so they've gone today. So all the orders are gone, and I had some more through the craft store, so they've all gone too. Aha! So yeah, so I felt pleased about that. And then I thought, do you know what? I need to do my mug rug, and I got a couple of different ideas in mind. But I decided that one of them wouldn't work, because on a larger scale, yes, but no, I just thought it would be too small to work on our mug rug size. So I went for plan B, and you'll see in a moment what we have to do. So each time I do a mug rug, I like to have a slightly different technique with it, just so that it's a pleasure to do, hopefully for you, and also a little bit learning as well, something a little bit different. So that's what I did, sat down and did that, while Martin popped off to Oundle to take the craft store packets over there. And then I thought, I've got to get cracking. Oh, hello Barbara. So Tracy's popping around after work tonight, and after this mug rug swap. And so I needed to get some bits ready for her, and it was like, which ones do I do? I mean, I know she'll be up for anything, but I've got some which I have got to do because I need to do the instructions as I go along. But there's some, as I say, that are revamped, which hopefully Tracy will love doing. I'm sure she will. So I got a couple. Hello, Irene. Couple of those done. But that was after I thought, no, I've got to start doing, I've got a charm pack. You know, the little ducklings one? I thought, I need to do that. So I've made the quilt that goes along with that this afternoon. When I say made, the topper is pieced with the borders on. I have just got to wad it and back it, quilt it, and then put the binding on. So hopefully that will happen after I've seen Tracy and before I have my dinner. And then I shall hand bind it tonight. Yes. So that is my plan for today. Tomorrow, well, I don't know, because we have young Charlie with me. So won't be much done. Hello, Eileen. You got carried away. I'm only just chatting to everybody and telling you about what I've been up to. Oh, that's good. No, that isn't good. Yes, that is. Just one moment. Oh, yes, that's good. I thought I'd lost some of my charm packs, but I haven't. That is very fortunate. So I thought I'd look for them. You know, how can you lose? I'm so bad. Oh, thank you, Chris. That is very kind of you. You know, without all of you buying from the craft store or from a website, it's what keeps me... Do I have an overlocker? Yes, I do, Irene. Yes, it keeps me going and it keeps them asking me back. So... thank you for that. So, yes, I do have an overlocker, Irene, which I haven't used in a little while, but I did a couple of Trisha Time demos using the overlocker. But, yeah, I love my overlocker whenever I decide to take it out and use it. Perhaps it's been going through my mind, hello, Christine, that to do some cushions, actually, with a design on the front in one way or another. And that, hello Mavis, nice to see you too. And that is when I would probably use an overlocker as well. It doesn't really matter when I make a sample up that I've used an overlocker. When I lost 2 bottles, I know. No, I've just seen them right in front of me. As per usual, something is always on the top of whatever I'm looking for. I mean, hello-y, Leslie. What did I, you know, nightmare. What I do, and I don't know if you do this as well, I carry things around with me. Oh, I carry things around with me, leave them where I go to and walk off, then I can't remember where I've left them. Still got my little cough. yeah, treat yourself then, Irene. Overlockers are wonderful, and there's nothing worse than when it doesn't stitch the way you would like it to, or it's difficult to thread. So go for whatever your budget can afford. Obviously, the more you pay, usually the easier it is to thread. If you go for the air threading machines, life is a cinch. And you know, it always happens to us that at some point you do need to rethread, and it just makes life pleasurable when you're using it. So yeah, actually thinking about that, when Tracy and I went to the NEC on Saturday, and it was very quiet, I thought, until probably lunchtime-ish, when it got packed. Yes, an easy threader. Hello, Dorothy. And I was talking to a lady on the Janome stand, and she said they've got a new cover stitch out now as well, which I don't need another cover stitch. A cover stitch is an addition to an overlocker. So it does that lovely top stitching, a double row or triple row of top stitching around t-shirts. Hello, Sandy. And Sandy says hi to everyone. And necklines, you know, it's really professional finish. And but there was very few. Oh, what did we see? We saw a brother stand, that's right. So stood and had a look at the embroidery machines. Don't need another embroidery machine, but they were beautiful, But what's actually taken my eye, oh, hubby's keen to buy you an overlocker. No, you won't. Oh, you won't, as I don't want to be expected to be using it all the time. No, you won't. It won't be necessary for every time. Oh yes, the Jaguar one. Absolutely fantastic. GUR sewing machines sell them, and they're the sole distributors in the UK, and they are a wonderful little machine. And that is the reason being, you can actually open up the front of the machine so that you can see all the workings, and you're able to thread it more easily, or very easily. It's not an air threading one, but you can get to every little nook and cranny. And when I was using mine all the time, I could just thread it without even thinking about it. But I haven't used it for a long time, so I would have to just have a little look. But all the markings are, when you take the flap down at the front, it just tells you exactly where to thread. So there's only about 5 positions or 5 points that you thread one of the loopers through, and 4 on the other. And then obviously your main needles on the top are quite easy to thread. Anyway, a friend's just delivered a large bowl of... people are kind, Heather. Wouldn't that be nice? Yes. I don't remember the model number now. I think they had 2. But yeah, I think they do have 2. They probably changed the model number, but they'll still be the same format, in that you can open the front a full 180 degrees so that you can thread your machine easily. You can always give them a call and just see what they have. But lovely, lovely people to deal with. Yes, Ellen, I'm thinking about that trifle now. I've got stew tonight because Martin's making the stew. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, yes, we have a slow cooker. And when you have a slow cooker, isn't it the most simple thing to do? You basically throw it all in. Well, what I usually do, I put the meat in first and let that stew away itself for a couple of hours, perhaps 3 hours, and then I put all the veggies in. Easy? No? Oh no. How long do I need to do this for? Shall I sear the meat? Oh, you nearly forgot, Elaine. Oh, you're here now. What else can I put in it? How long for this? How much of that? But he's learning. He's learning, and it will be delicious. I think he thinks he's on like the Great British Bake Off or MasterChef and wants it to be perfect. It will be fine. It will be fine. Oh, Eileen, you're still humming and ahhing about getting an embroidery machine. I would probably go for it. I would, Eileen. And the only thing I would say is to go for a hoop that is big enough, or at least the 7x5. You know, the 4x4s are just a little bit restrictive, and quite often you'll find that you will outgrow it when you've only just started, because embroidery, machine embroidery, is very addictive, and you'll be buying lots of little designs, because that's the nice thing. You can buy designs individually, but the problem being that if yours is only 4x4 and you see this marvellous design that's 7x5 or 8x8 or even 6x6, and it won't fit your machine. And normally the starter embroidery machines, yeah, they are easy to use. Yep. And did I say I do use Marathon metallic thread? It is fantastic. Have I got one here? No, I've usually got one by me. No, not at the moment. But whenever I use metallic threads, I use Marathon. And I use it on the embroidery machine. And, you know, embroidery machines go very fast, but I don't have thread breakages. That was what I was trying to say, not bread breakages. Really, really great. Oh, GUR are a sewing machine company. They're actually, that's their initials, GUR. And they're up in Birmingham. So they have a small showroom which you can go to via appointment. So if you gave them a ring, they would entertain you. Hello, who's that? Josie, did I see? No. Wendy. Hello, Wendy. Where did I get mine from, please? Where did I get which? My embroidery machine or threads? Saying that, I got them both from the same place, to be honest, which is, there's a shop on an industrial estate in Bedford called Bedford Sewing and Knitting, which is BSK for short. Excuse me. And they've been going for a long, long time. They used to sell knitting machines, but no longer. Hello, Maxine. So, yeah, BSK. That if you Google it, you can either go, hello, Josie, lovely to see you. You can Google it and you can go direct to their own website, or they do have an eBay shop as well. But prices are very similar. I don't think anything's dearer than anything else. And Marathon threads are very economical. Not the dearest of threads, but they are just brilliant. I use all Marathon for my machine embroidery as well. So it's like a rayon thread, shiny, lasts forever. But you know, there's probably, the first time ever I bought a shade card, which I don't normally do that for threads. And it cost £5, £6, £7, something like that. But it's so well worth it. And I tick off all the ones I've got. So there's probably, 400 or 500 different colours. I haven't got 400 or 500, but I've probably got 150. You just got threads from that Bedford store via Amazon. Oh, they've got an Amazon store as well. No, I don't sell them, Eileen. No, I did inquire with BSK, but no, they wouldn't allow me to do that. I don't know who I'd have to go through to be able to. You have the E-Glide. E-Glide. My husband's so pleased, that sort of... Yes. The Glide. Sue has the Glide. I've sort of heard of that. What's the Glide, Sue? Tell me. No. Tell me what the Glide is, Sue. I was thinking the Super. Is it a Super Glide that... oh, for glide threads. I haven't heard of glide threads. They probably glide beautifully through your embroidery machine. I shall have to have a look at that up, so fancy not knowing about glide threads. I mean, I know there's Robert Anton or Anton something or other, which you don't see those around very often, but I imagine they're called glide threads because they run smoothly through your machine, and I imagine they're very good, otherwise you wouldn't use them, Sue, would you? No. So yeah, embroidery machines, haven't used mine in ages, still get the emails through with the designs, and actually I saw it in the hoop design, for a towel holder, and I thought, that's good, I like that, but actually I could make one without an embroidery machine. I mean, obviously when it's embroidered it is absolutely beautiful, but I thought the concept is there, so you never know, you might see, watch this space. I have, let's see, yes, I've got another show. I don't know whether I said, no, I probably didn't. So I do have another show early December. Now how that came about, I might have said Friday, I don't know. They've asked me to be on the craft store on Christmas Day again. Don't know what time, but obviously I shan't be at the craft store, nor will many other staff at all. Whether they've just got security people in there, I don't know. They'll have somebody to have to just do something. So I have to do a pre-record, and I'm going to do that on December the 1st. So on December the 1st, okay, right, yeah, we just have to Google where they are. Yes, so December the 1st, I shall have a show at 9 o'clock in the morning as well, and then I'll do the pre-record afterwards. So 9 o'clock on the December the 1st, but that is after, keep forgetting the date, the 21st of November. 21st of November. Not far off, is it? And it feels as if I've only just finished dispatching, it's about a week ago, from the one day special, which was busy, but there we go. That's all done now. I won't do another one for another year. Well, apart from the one I should do for them, a Moda one in January, February time, because they have that in their plans. So we shall see. What I have put a post up about is this Sunday, forgetting that it would be Remembrance Sunday, but I always do my Sunday sales, apart from for Thrifty Thursday, I do it on a Sunday morning at 11, so it's a little bit, shall I, shan't I, but, you know, there's still quite a few people that are wanting to, or will be joining me, so I thought I'd carry on, but we won't start until 11:15. I thought about changing it to the afternoon, but, you know, it's your Sunday afternoon, isn't it? So, as I say, I thought we'd do it at 11:15. It's bound to go on for a good hour, if not an hour and a half or two. So, you know, some of you who are doing other things, we have no remembrance services or gathering around a memorial here, so didn't cross my mind. But I shan't be doing it dead on 11 o'clock. And anyway, my thoughts will be on tomorrow, when it is the 11th of the 11th. Anyhow, so that will be this Sunday from 11:15. And what I shall have, I have some ideas, but I shall have cranberries and cream, which is the most beautiful fabric. Very similar, remember La Rose Rouge? It is along those lines, and some of the fabrics within it are absolutely beautiful. The reds are just, the depth to them, and oh, it's just lovely, just absolutely lovely. So I got a little plan as to what I should be doing with those, along with other fabrics as well. So I've got to just sort out what I need for the shows, because as I say, I have put those shows together now. They can watch it back, yes, but what I thought there, what I might do is, because obviously time is of the essence, I will pop the things that are left over, I will pop them on the website. So yes, by all means watch it back afterwards, but they will be on the website, because unfortunately I won't have time to take phone calls and etc. But as I say, with you know, I want to get the packing of it done if anybody buys anything. I want to get that all out, but I should also have preparation for the following Sunday as well. So it's all a little bit, I try to cram so much into life. Hello Yvonne, I think you had a parcel go off today. Sure you did. Yep, I think so. I remember writing the name. Anyhow, I'm waffling and we can't take too long because Tracy will be here. So, mug rug. So today, it's not perfect. Shouldn't say that, should I? But it's not absolutely perfect. I must admit my mitered corners are perfect, but a little bit of my stitching is not perfect. I think my borders, not bad, but it's around the middle, it's not perfect. Never mind. So what do we get? I'm going to show you. Very simple, but I hope you'll like it. We're going to do a little bit of reverse applique. So there it is. Perhaps we'll turn it up this way and then you'll see, you can see where my stitching is not absolutely perfect, but my miters are perfect, which is what I like. So, as I say, this is what, this is one way of doing reverse applique. Oh, I'm glad you love it. I thought it would be perhaps a little bit simpler than some. I did think about, the light's shining there badly, isn't it? I did think about doing a bit more quilting on there, which you could indeed do. Oh, thank you, Eileen, and thank you, Eileen and Irene and Lindsay. So we've got a couple of techniques, actually. There's a bit of crazy patchwork, so ideal for your scraps. Same site, must be 5 o'clock. Here comes my cup of tea, thank you very much. Is it stewed?
Not as far as I know.
He says naught. Ah, lovely. He's brought me a cup of tea. I shall need that.
Nice.
So, yes, a circle. Oh, thank you, Ellen. You're not looking too closely. From a distance, it's good. So we'll do the 3 metre one, shall we? The 3 metre thing. If from 3 metres you can't see anything wrong, then it's fine. So, yes, scraps. Any little scraps of fabric, whatever you decide to put together. I've used some little bits of Bluebird collection by Makawa. And when I was thinking reverse applique, oh, you're learning to do hand reverse applique? Yeah. Yep, that is super. So circles are always not the easiest to get a perfectly smooth. I mean, I have got smooth lines. It's just my top stitching. And Bridget's never tried reverse applique. Well, there we are. That's what I know. There's always going to be some of you who have done, you know, the different techniques that I show you. But hopefully you'll pick up just one little tip from it. And then there's lots of people who perhaps have never done it before, like yourself. So it's well worth always teaching something or showing you something, because you never know who's done it before. And yes, Maxine, yeah. Now, I did think heart. Oh, don't be scared. Don't be scared, because this is quite easy. I must admit, it is quite easy. And as I say, yes, this is the thing. Doing it like this, I thought there's going to be lots of colourways. If you wanted to do it Christmassy, you are more than welcome to. It is the December swap, so this is the one that we are going to do the reveal, I think a couple of days after Christmas, either the 27th or 28th. Can't remember what we said, Lindsay. But, and just to give a little bit more time with Christmas post, etc. So, scraps, absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. And as I said, I was going to do a heart, and I thought, well, we've done hearts before. Let's do a circle. So, let's have a little swig. And let me see where I could, let me put this up here. 27th, okay. So the 27th of, let's see. Oh, that's it. It can sit just there. Looks perfect now. You can't see anything from there, can you? So the 27th of December is when reveal will be. Obviously, Christmas posting sort of restricts. I would aim to get in the post at least by, say, the 20th. Can't remember what day Christmas Day comes on, but we want to do it sort of a little bit earlier. I mean, sometimes we leave it till the 21st, 22nd, but I think that's too late for arriving at Christmas. But could very well, they may be delivering on the 27th or 28th. unless it's a Saturday or a Sunday, of course. Still in one piece. Shouldn't say that, should I? Lovely mug. Yeah, lovely mug. There we are. From the lovely Lindsay, who every time I don't use it, Lindsay thinks, oh my goodness, has Martin broke it? He wouldn't dare. I tell you, he would not dare. Okay, that's quite good. A little bit strong for me, but there we go. Hey ho. So we'll see what we'll see if the internet decides to crash down, but hoping not, because I shall be moving the screen in a minute. Is everyone able to post comments? Angie doesn't seem to be able to comment. Oh right, haven't seen any comments from Angie. Is it one of those times when Angie ought to log out and log back in again? Sometimes that works, doesn't it? But no, so I saw you say hi, Angie, but nothing after that. So here we go. I've got my iron at the ready. I have got my pressing mat as well, because I just want to make sure my fabric is nice and smooth. I can see my backing fabric is. Right. All you need, the normal measurements, 8 by 5, 8 inches across, 5 down. Oh right, okay. Oh, Barbara's okay. Yeah, I can see lots of comments. Yeah. So 8 by 5, but you want 2 pieces of fabric. So these pieces are this cream here or ivory I've got. So you want 2 pieces, and 1 piece of wadding the same size, 8 by 5, and 1 piece of backing fabric, which is 10 by 7. So we've added an inch all the way round, just to give us for our mitre, for our binding. Okay, so I'll put that, yes, let me just get my, just get my pressing mat. I'll just press this as I put the iron on. It's always better to work with smooth fabric. We don't want, I'm just ironing that out. I'll pop it down, pop the camera down in a minute so you can see what I'm doing, and I'll turn that off. Okay, so let's see. Let's just see if, fingers crossed, that we are not going to, oh, I'm just looking for my thing there. Oh, there it is. There it is. And my pen. So you will need a circular object. I have found a lid. If you've got a circle, this is about, what is it? It's about 3 inches across, 3-inch diameter. So if you have, oh, there's my pen. If you have a circle or a circular template or a stencil, really good. But otherwise, just have a look for a lid, something circular. So I'm just going to see if we can tilt this down. Now we can. Is I will pop a pin at each of the corners, because I want the fabric to stay together and align the raw edges. So when you draw your circle, make sure, we're back, thank goodness, because quite often it doesn't come back at all. So just make sure, as I said, the that's it, like there, your circle is drawn away from the edges, probably 1.5 inches or so. And if you do centrally here, I'm just going to stand up to see that, just so that it's in from the edge. And this is where your mug could sit if you wanted it to. So I'm just going to put my finger on the top, and I'm just going to draw myself a circle all the way around there. I can just about see that. So this is on my, you can see the circle is there, and you can see it's almost equidistant, so that we've got enough for when our binding comes over this side and this side as well, and it's nowhere near that edge either. So all we're going to do is, I'm just going to see if I can tilt that to the machine. Okay, I am going to stitch. Oh, it's the light is bad these days, isn't it? Right, Claire. No, but I'm going to stitch on this line through both layers of fabric. So we have 2 layers of fabric, and I'm going to stitch through both layers. I am going to have my stitch length even smaller. If you can go down to less than your 1.8, and I'm going to stitch on the line. So I hope this doesn't... Why do I always use white so you can't see? Seems a lot of people can't comment, or their comments aren't coming up. Oh, I don't know why it's happening either. So I've lowered the length of my stitch, because when we are doing a circle, so that we get a really smooth curve, if you have a small stitch length, so smaller than 2, and I am just stitching on the line. So just make sure that's nice and smooth. I'm just going slowish speed, and I'm stitching on that line. If you go nice and slowly and steady, it means that you won't have to keep stopping and starting. But even if you do, when you've got a short stitch length, it doesn't show. It's when you have a longer stitch length and you keep turning the fabric, it makes like lots of lines all joined together, and it doesn't give you a nice smooth circle. So that's it. We're coming up to where I began. So I'm going to stitch over those first few stitches. Have I got there yet? I am there. Right. And then I'm going to trim. So now we can take the pin out at both sides. So I've taken those pins out. And then we'll trim that little bit of thread. And then I'm going to cut out this centre circle. So it's probably easy. So I'm going through both layers. So I'll clip near the drawn line, and I'm going to cut probably, it's only less than 1/8 of an inch, probably 1/16 of an inch. Can you see there? So I'm just opening the scissors, and a little bit like paper crafters doing their decoupage, open the scissors and feed the fabric into the jaws of the scissors. So that's it. So rather than keep chopping your scissors up and down, or opening them and closing them, if you just push the fabric in there, and we've got a very small seam allowance there. Now that's the alternative to doing a bigger seam allowance, and then you can clip into the curve, but you quite often will see that through your fabric, or when we're going to actually turn this. So at the moment we have raw edges, don't we? So what we're going to do now, so that we don't have a raw edge there, is we are going to do like the envelope. Envelope zips. We're going to push the fabric through the hole to the other side. So it's probably easier to start with the biggest part, but we are pushing that through so that we have all of our fabric coming through like this. And then what I like to do is, if you give the edges a little tweak, and then with your nail just go all the way round and just press that. So if you give it a little, don't pull it to break the threads, but just give it that little tweak, and then use your nails just to press that. We will press it in a moment, but I'm just using my nails to get the seam on the edge there, and that will then give us our perfect circle with a nice smooth edge. So again, and with that seam allowance being so narrow, that also helps to give the nice smooth curve to our circle. Okay, so you can see even now that that curve is really quite nice. So I'm just going to do this down onto here so that I can just press it. So let's just put the iron, I think it's still warm, but you want to make sure that your edges here are still aligned, and so I'll just give it a little press here and then just go around the edge of the circle. And as I say, you'll see the seam, the edge of the seam is all that on that inner edge. There we are. So there we are, that gives us a nice smooth circle there. Okay, so we can set that aside for a moment, because what we're going to do now is going to make the crazy patchwork that goes underneath. So what I did for that, I just got some scraps of fabric, and you can see what I've been using here. So let's start with a dark one in the centre. So what I started off with, you can start with any shape, but I started off with a triangle. So, oh, got a bit of a cut into there. Right, so let's start off with a triangle here. So I'm just cutting myself a bit. So your bigger scraps will, so I've got myself a triangle, and then I'm going to take, I don't want all of those bits really because they're a bit big, but I'm looking at lights and darks. So I've got some light bits of fabric here. Oh, that's too small. So this one here, here's a light one. So what I'm going to look at one edge. I'll look at this edge here, and I know that fabric is a funny shape, but I'm going to put that, I'm just going to line that up with one edge there, and I'm going to stitch 1/4 inch seam allowance. Still going to have a smallish stitch length of 1.8 or 2, but that will be not as small as we had for the circle. So I'm just going to stitch along to where that fabric, so I stitched to roughly where the fabric went. So then I'm going to open that out and just finger press that like so, and then I'm going to cut this piece off. So I might actually, I'm just going to trim that along there. So I've got a light bit next to it. So I'm now going to put another piece along that edge there. So let's see, oh, I've used a dark bit there. Let's see what this one is. Oh no, there's a lighter blue. So again, this is where you look for the length of your pieces. We're going to trim it as we go, but just to line the raw edges. So when I trim, I'm just trimming to get a straight run. Doesn't matter if that edge doesn't line up properly, because we're going to trim it away anyway. But again, I'm just going to stitch along here. And I can't see where my other one finished, but we will open that out. And then again, I'm just going to press that. So the seam is going away from me. And I'm just going to finger press that down like so. So I can, because this line here is straight, I'm just going to continue that. So I've still got a straight line there, but I'm going to chop this off. How am I going to chop this off? I might chop this. So I've got 1, 2, 3. I might chop this into, you know, you can chop it however you like, into another triangle. So you can see there, I've got 1, 2, 3. So now I'm going to put another bit, choose whichever side you like. There's no routine to this at all, but oh, I've got a bit of fabric there. I'm going to put it along this edge. So again, just line that up. As you can see, it's not perfectly aligned, but it doesn't matter. So we're just going to stitch along here just to join it together, but we're making a random crazy patch. Okay, so we'll leave that as it is, apart from, can you see that jumps up there? I'm just going to trim that, and so I've now got a nice straight edge along there. And then I'm going to find, let us have a look. Oh, I've got a little bit here. Actually, that might fit. So I've got a bit here. And, oh yes, that will fit there. We don't need that bit, so I'm going to just chop that bit off. But that roughly fits along there. You need it to be as long as that line, or near enough. And not straight, but we will stitch straight, and then we can trim anything off that we don't want. So again, we'll flip that back and just finger press that open. Now this time I'm going to trim that little bit off so that I've got that straight edge there, and I am going to put, I'll start with a bigger bit. Oh no, we've used that bit. Let's do a nice light blue. So this time I'm going to line that up along there, right sides together, and we'll stitch along here. So basically, and even my stitching then wasn't completely straight, it's as it goes, it just go with the flow. So here, right, again, I'm going to continue cutting this line across here, so we've got a straight edge there, and then I might, and I will, cut down to there. So I just cut a triangle on that side. Now I'm going to do one on here. So if you've got small bits, I've got another creamy bit there, that small bit will go on there. So we only want it to be big enough to go under our circle. So as you see, I'm trying not to get two pieces the same together. So we'll just trim that bit off, and we'll trim that bit off. I don't think that is big enough yet. No, I think we want a little bit across here. So let's find a darker bit there. Oh, I've got a dark bit here. So across that line, and again you can see, not straight, but I'm going to stitch along this straight edge here. And that way it is going to square that bit off a bit, and as long as we have a minimal seam allowance, that's it, we can open that out. Now there's too much of that colour, so I'm going to trim that back. So what I might do is just trim that like so, and then that like that. Now that is looking a bit bigger now, isn't it? So as soon as you got, oh, I think, now can you see that fits? A bit bigger there, but it fits. So I don't need to do any more. So you can see how much fabric that took, next to nothing. So we are going to trim this away afterwards anyway, but just get my iron out again and just flip you down there, and we'll just press this out so that's nice and flat. That's lovely. See how perfectly flat, just because the wool pressing mat. Beautiful. So you see how much I use mine, can't you? Right, so I am going to nip that little bit off because I don't like that bit. And then we are going to pop the circle over the top. Now, if your piece is bigger, you can place it where you like. So I have just about got enough space there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a pin, and I'm just going to hold that, if I've got, yes, just enough fabric under there, and, oh, there's enough under there. Just put a couple of pins, whoops, that's it, to hold that in place. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to stitch around the edge of this circle. So we'll take those bits of fabric away, and to here. So nothing special in what I'm doing. What I did do, I have my needle back in the middle for this because being a circle, it's not easy to keep a line aligned with, oh, I don't know. So I'm watching my needle where it goes into the fabric, and also I'm keeping a lowish size stitch, so I'm keeping a 2, and what I'm trying to do is, now actually yeah, before I start, see, I've cut that off now. I'm going to put the wadding underneath here. That's it. I'm going to put the wadding under here because I thought it will give a little bit more puffiness. So wadding, align those edges. There we go. And that's not very aligned there. So just line that up. That's better. So I do want to have pins. Take that pin out a minute. We'll have pins at these corners so that the wadding is attached to my... See, I only made it 2 or 3 hours ago, didn't I? And still can't remember the order I did things. But yeah, so I've pinned... Oops, didn't see that, did you? I've pinned the fabric to the wadding. And now I'm going to go back to do what I was doing earlier, which is to stitch around this edge. Now, if you're feeling very brave, you could actually, that's it, I'm just watching where my needle is going. You could do a colour, a coordinating colour. So again, I'm not, I was going to say driving, I'm not stitching that fast, but I'm just trying to get a nice, consistent, whoops, that's gone out a little bit. I really want it to be even around the edge. Now, whatever colour you choose as your background fabric here, the higher the contrast, the better it will be. This being ivory, when I have some lighter fabrics, it's not always easy for me to see the edge. But I am just trying to keep it nice and even all the way around. But as I say, because it's a circle, it won't always be perfect, but I'm just trying to keep the same width all the way from, or the same distance away from that inner edge of the circle. And we shall see in a minute. When I get to where I started, I want my stitches to go over, which they have. Oh, it's not too bad. Not too bad. It does wobble out a little bit. Okay, so you can see that's done there. And then if you wanted to quilt along these lines, you could do that too. Or decorative stitch along these would look beautiful. And I would do that at this point now. My thread's running out. I'm paying bobbin, chicken bobbin, thread chicken, whatever you call it. But the one thing I am going to do, I'm just going to do an extra circle around the edge here. But if you wanted to... Now, with doing the extra edge, I'm using the edge of the foot here against that inner circle. And I'm just trying to keep that. It is far easier to keep the foot being in line with, I think, with that inner edge of the circle. I'm just trying to keep this easy. Now, what the other thing you could do is actually draw a line. Oh, goodness, I think I've done rubbish. Yes, I'm probably totally out here. But I'm trying to keep that absolutely on the edge. Yes, not perfect, just like I said before, but not bad. Okay, so I've got that second there. Now, what I would probably suggest is you draw a line. If you've got a friction pen or the heat soluble pens, so if you drew it, stitched on it, and then when you iron it, it goes away. All I would say is be careful if you're using a dark fabric, because it can actually bleach. These friction pens can bleach a darker fabric, so it leaves a white mark. But if you're stitching around there, that should be covered anyway. Okay, so we've done that part. Now we've just got the easy part to do, or what we'd say is the easy part. And I've forgotten to bring my mitre tool, haven't I? So let's just take that up a little bit higher. Get those bits out of the way. So we are going to have our backing fabric, wrong side, right side down rather. And we are going to align our mug rug right in the centre. Now you can measure if you would like, but I can see that that is 1 inch on all sides. So I do like to, I'm not going to use spray adhesive, but I do like it to be separate, loose from my backing, because it just makes it easier with the mitres. So we'll put a pin there. Now this is where I should be using my flathead pins, because they will get in the way of my amazing mitre tool. But they are in my other pin cushion, which is not in here. So iron on. Now, of all the amazing mitres that I had, so iron on, and we're just going to press those over. Let's just have a look here. Right, I'm here. So we are going to fold, if I put this towards me here, we're going to fold one edge at a time into the edge. Now you will have, you'll know exactly how to do this because you've done it before. And what I must say is how perfect all the mug rugs were last time. You should all be so proud of yourselves. In the finish was just superb, wasn't it, on the mitres. Now you don't have to do a mitre. It's just we have got used to it. We've got into the habit of doing our mitres, but you don't have to. The reason being, you could just pop some fabric right sides together, the same size as your mug rug that we've just made, and you could stitch all the way around, and you could leave a gap and then turn it through and then just top stitch. It doesn't have to be a mitre, but I know how you so love doing your mitres now because they are easy and because they're perfect every time. But please don't feel that you've got to. So we have pressed all of our pieces, and what we're going to do now is we're going to mark, so we're going to open these out, and we're going to use the amazing mitre, and we're going to pop that into, so that we can mark the lines, the creases basically. So the light is really bad in here, so that I can't see. So what I'm going to do is I can actually see, I'm just drawing along here without the tool because I can see it better than it reflecting. In the daytime I would use the mitre tool every time to do this. So I'm just drawing into these crease lines, which, as I say, I can see right to that top bit as well. But in the daytime I use the mitre tool, but it's the light reflecting here that is. There we are, so we've got those. Now I do need to definitely use the mitre tool for my cutting now. So we'll get the rotary cutter. Oh, I haven't got a... Right, so my cutting mat. Where has my cutting mat gone? It is... Who's had it? Let me have a look. I'm back. Here we go. We have a little one. So, can we see this? Yes, we can. So, this is where we do our cutting. So, mitre tool with the 1/4 inch. Markings there. So that we're going to flip the ruler around the other way, line those markings up with the edge of our fabric. Now actually I'm just going to trim that because I can see I've got a little bit of wadding showing here. Making sure I'm not cutting through the backing fabric. That's better. There's just a little bit, that's it. So I'm going with the fabric. So line that up. The point is on the point of the mug rug, and those lines are going along the edges, and then we're going to trim, push that away. Then we'll go to the next one. Now this is where, don't want that pin there because it makes it bobble up. So line that up again and trim. Turn it round, line that up and trim. Turn that around, line that up and trim. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll put that pin back in there just to hold that, and we'll hold that one just there as well. Okay, so we're all ready to go. Now all I'm going to do now is fold it or turn it to the back, fold the corners so that we align those. Use a pin there if you want to. Oh, that's a chunky pin. Line that very edge up, and then we're going from, which you can't see the marking very well at all, but you're going from this point of the line down to the fold. So it's a very short seam on this one because we're doing the small binding. We've only got a 1/2 inch binding, and just make sure we're on 1/4 inch seam allowance. There we are, 1/4 inch seam allowance. We go back down to our small stitch of 28 of 1.8, and just make sure that the needle comes down on that line. That's it. And then I reverse one, and then down to the fold, and reverse at the fold, and trim. Okay. Oh, we're nearly running out. So again, right sides together with the backing fabric. I will just hold this rather than doing a pin. So I'm just going to hold that flat onto the bed of the machine so it doesn't move, and lining up 1/4 inch seam, 1 stitch forward, 1 stitch back, or 2. I quite often do 2, but I've got away with doing 1 these last few times. And next corner, right sides together, line those edges up because we know this is all nice and accurate. And then we're going to go from the mark line down to the fold, always down to the fold. That way we will get, so one forward, 1 backwards. But by going down to the fold as opposed to away from it, you know you're not going to get any puckers there, because it could, 1, 2, 3, 4, last one, it could shift. If you go from the fold outwards, these points here may not line up. So by lining up those edges there, we know we're going to get a perfect finish anyway. So I'm holding that down, just pressing that onto the needle bed, looking to see where my needle is going, and it's going right into that line, forwards and backwards, just 2, and trim. So we'll trim off these excess bits of thread. Don't want those. Oh, there's one just there. I'm thinking there's probably 3 at each point. So 1, 1, 2. Make sure you don't clip your fabric here. So there's 1 just there, because these short ends, they just get in the way. And take that pin out and clip that. I think that is all gone. And then we also need to take out those pins here. So I'm just going to pop that down there and in. So we need to turn these points through now. So I put my finger into the point, flatten that seam allowance and poke that through. Now I haven't got my pokey tool here at the minute, so very naughty, but look at that. Look at that. And then the same here. Flatten that down, turn it through, and then just use very carefully. You saw how that just poked out straight away. I think it just needs a little bit more. There we are. Perfect. And similar here, flatten down, push through. Lovely point. And here, whoops, finger down, flatten the seam, push it through, and lovely mitre there. So what we need to do before we take the pins out is now, let's just put those there, push this corner into the corner. So I will just push that in because we want the mug rug to be flat into that corner. I can feel that is. Then we'll move round to the next one, push it down and push that in. This is why I like the pins to just anchor the mug rug roughly where it should be, and then swivel that around, push that in. But that's where my my nice pokey tool just pushes that in nicely with no fear of damaging any of the fabric. So I'm just pushing that very carefully just to make sure, as I say, the mug rug is totally flat. So because we've got this all folded nicely because we pressed. So we can just, I'll take this pin out now. Now that we've pushed those under, I can just pop a pin in there, take this one out, pop those edges under and bring that out. And similar here, just push that under and just make sure that that's in the centre there. There we go, I can see that is. And fold our binding over the edge there, and then the last edge, tuck that under, and we'll take that pin and pop that there. And all that remains to do is to stitch around the edges. So, stitching around the edges. So don't start in a corner, but if we start a little way along. Now this time I have got, because we're doing straight lines, because we're doing straight lines, oh, I don't know how, it's very close, isn't it? Oh, the glare is just awful. Oh, that's better. That's better. So I'm going to move my needle right over to the edge, and then I do it to 0.2 actually, and then it's just not quite, and I'm lining up a line with the edge of my binding. So we'll just go up to a 2 for my stitch length, and this gives me a stitch quite close to the edge, and I'm careful when I go to the corner, and then I get my needle exactly in the seam, in that mitre seam, and then when I turn it's exactly the right place to, that's it again, so I'm looking for that mitre seam, yep, then I can pivot. So just pull that nicely, and I'm watching the line on my foot lining up with the edge of the binding. That's it, just, and then I'm giving a little tweak so that it's just nice and taut, and that way you'll get a nice straight stitch along this edge. And we're coming up to the seam, in the seam, take that pin out, and then just pull into that mitre and straight along here. It really is so quick, we can whiz along, but just watching for that seam. There we are, directly in it, and oh, bit of thread there, don't want that. And then again around the corner, line on my foot lined up with the edge of the binding, and I'm just going to pull that bit of thread because I don't want to, like I have already, I don't want it to attach to the back really. but I've stitched that in. Okay, so let's just hold that little bit and just watch for where I started again to go over those stitches. Just 2 or 3. Just trim that and then trim that and trim the back. A few more there than I wanted. Oh, that's it. So there we have it. So number 2. All done. Okay. Now back here again. No, there is. Yes, there it is. So we have 2. There is 1. So I say you could, if you wanted to, do a little bit more quilting here. Just to make it a little bit different. 10 out of 19. What's 10 out of 19? There we are. So 2 little ones. See, they're both different. So as I say, hold that straight. The choice of fabrics is entirely yours. If you want to quilt a little bit more, if you want to quilt on the crazy, sorry, here, if you want to quilt on this or fancy some embroidery stitches, you can do. But it's a little technique of getting that nice circle around something. So, thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Sue. Okay. Yeah, but it's how you get a nice circle inner there, a nice smooth circle. Okay, you could hand stitch it if you wanted. If you didn't want to do that top stitching, mine isn't perfect, but yes, it would take a blind man eyes to say, did you trim? Oh, I didn't. No. Now, the one I had before, my first one I made, there was quite a bit. Yes. Rewind. So what I did forget to do, can't remember which one I made first. Oh, this was today's. Yeah. Fortunately, there wasn't too much. Yeah, there is a little bit. I can just see. Yeah. So before I put the backing on, rewind, what I did was pull away the wadding and from this cream fabric, and then just trimmed that excess where it was squarish, wasn't it, that I popped behind there. Trim that away. Completely forgot. But as I say, yeah, I can just see. I can see just a little bit. I don't know if you... No, you can't see. Oh, you're welcome, Patricia. So, yes, trim that away, and then you won't have... I don't think you can... You can't actually see it because... But if you've got a much bigger bit going on behind here, and if it was darker than this, you might see it through. So, I would trim that away. Yes. Okay. So, I think, I'm just trying to think now, brain dead. I think Lindsay puts the post up after the demo. Is that what she usually said? To sign up for, yes, to sign up for the next one, for making this. And you will have until the 24th, something like that, to sign up. But if you'd like to make this and join the mug rug swap for December, this is what it will be like, sort of. So whatever colourway you like in here, can we use a Frenchie behind? Yes, you could. A Frenchie would fit perfectly. As you saw, I was using some spare Frenchies. Yep, so if you wanted to, you can do whatever you like. For ease, one piece of fabric, one piece that's a bit fussy cut. Actually, that's just reminded me of some fabric I've got. You'll put this in announcements and put in the post up in the group after this. Lovely, thank you, Lindsay. So, if you want to see the mug rug video again, it will be in the announcements. It will be at the top of the page. And the joining up post will be up shortly after we've finished now. So thank you for that, Lindsay. It is so well organised. You're so, so good. And I appreciate it. So this is what we're doing. Now, what I should say, I won't be doing one tomorrow because I have got loads that I ought to do. But, well, that I have got to do, not that I ought to do. Friday I should be back with the mystery quilt, most definitely. Need to do a little bit more to that. So, yes. So tomorrow I won't be live, but I think Lindsay's going to put a nice little rerun of something tomorrow. And then Friday I'll be on the So Totally Trisha page at 4:30, and we will do the last bit of the mystery quilt. And I think, you know, when people have finished them, I think we shall probably need a little album, because I'm really looking forward to seeing what colourways. I've seen a few and they look great, absolutely great. But again, just seeing people's different colour choices and what combination of fabrics they put together, it's really exciting to see everybody's different quilts. So, and then, yes, and then Sunday at 11:15 on the So Totally Trisha page, we'll do the little fabric sale for those of you that can join me. So, not tomorrow, but I will see you Friday. I'll say thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you on Friday at 4:30. Bye for now.